each base at least once. Milwaukee and Texas will play again tonight in their final tune-up for each team. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Good Tuesday to you. We are glad you are with us today as there's a lot to get to. Two of the Final Four are set. Some controversy over on the women's side. Thoughts regarding Jordan Love. We got to get to. The Brewers are only a couple of days away from starting their season. There is so much to talk about today. The Bucks lose again last night. Is it concerning? The Packers have made a move. It's not a big one, but they bring back, as suspected, Tyler Lancaster is now back in the fold, as per Rob Domowski of ESPN. So the terms have yet to be announced for that deal, but that being said, it is Lancaster's time back in Green Bay. You kind of figured that. He's kind of the work dog, you know? He's the guy that he's just a blue-collar, lunch pail kind of guy, and you knew he'd be back. And sure enough, the Packers re-signed him. So they continue to add depth. Now you're waiting to see what the Packers do because he's not going to be, tens of millions of dollars when it comes to fitting him in under the salary cap. But you and I both know they need some room. They need room. So where the Packers are right now, they need some room. So we'll see what happens. As far as the Packers having $2.741 million under the cap right now, they are sitting 26th in the National Football League as far as overall space goes. The Eagles, as contracts stand, are the worst off team, sitting at $7 million over. New Orleans, who was $77 million over, is now $1.7 million over. The Rams, $5.2 million over. Buccaneers, 1.1, and the Cardinals just under. So, and the Bears, by the way, 2.1 million under the cap, and then the Packers at number 26 at 2.7. So Packers have a little space. They can fit Tyler Lancaster in, but anything else that they need to do, they're going to have to do some work. They got some work to do, without a doubt. Also, more headlines today. You've got the Sports Illustrated. I reposted this and put it over on the Facebook fan page and retweeted it. An interesting write and read from a woman who they called Mary, who backed up a lot of the claims. She is not one of the participants in the lawsuit with Deshaun Watson. She has chosen not to go in that direction as of right now, but she talks about, she was one of the first, when you look at the timeline, women that had experienced Deshaun Watson. And she kind of feels like this was the prelude to everything else that's gone on. So she backs up a lot of what they say, but she is not a part of the lawsuit, albeit she could be if she chose to do so. But there's some intriguing reads there about the beginning in which he started to feel somewhat empowered as to what he was accused of doing. So we'll get into that coming up here a little bit as well. You've also got the UConn women getting into the Final Four, but via a very controversial swallowing of the whistle, and then the one of the head coaches makes a comment. The women's head coaches makes a comment after the game, and it makes you scratch your head a little bit because you're thinking to yourself, what are we hearing? Got a lot going on today. Good morning to everybody that's following us over there on the live stream. Thanks to everybody for following us there. Also, if you want to follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, plenty of ways to do so. Just look for Bill Michaels. So the Packers get Tyler Lancaster back into the fold, as I had stated. But the question, and I was watching this bandied about this morning, the question for the Green Bay Packers is the direction in which they're going, and still there is no clear philosophical space when it comes to the direction. However, there is one thing that is extremely clear, and that is that the Packers, for whatever it is they're going to do, need to put Jordan Love on display, whether it's going to be solidifying themselves as he is going to be your next quarterback, or if he's not, then you need to be able to say, okay, we've got this guy. Here's the showcase. Here's what we have in him. Let the bidding begin. One of the two. And while we are still a long way away from OTAs, mini camps, and training camp, it is a clear philosophy right now that the Packers need to put Jordan Love on display. They need to bring him out and be able to show him off a little bit to say, look, and you're going to get an abbreviated period of time to do so because it looks like they're heading towards a 17-game season. But it is going to be imperative that you find out over the next year or two what specifically it is you have in Jordan Love. No doubt. Jim, Dave, everybody, good to see you guys. Wade, how we looking? Ronald, how we looking? Ronald says, bringing back Tyler Lancaster. Boy, they're going all in. I can smell and feel the dripping sarcasm in that statement. Without a doubt. Things have gone quiet, though, in the NFL. Teams went through the initial flurry, which is to be expected. Teams went through the initial flurry of signing guys. Now players are looking for other teams. Guys that didn't sign, they're still on the open market. They're kind of waiting for the June 1st cuts as to see who is going to actually have salary cap space available, see how teams continue to restructure, all that kind of stuff. It's all going to happen. And that's when you're going to see some of these other guys, these more prominent veterans that are sitting out on the open market, they're going to start to get those offers. That's when that's going to start coming in. Also in Milwaukee Brewers news, the grounds crew peeling the tarp back today. They have been prepping the stadium, prepping the field for opening day. So some pictures I just retweeted out of McCalvy's post. If you haven't seen it already, not that it's a necessity. It's not like you got to go, I got to go see this, but it just gives you that good feeling. You know what I mean? It just gives you that good feeling like, hey, baseball's almost here. Almost here. Ready to go. Brewers 4-1 winner or 4-0 winners yesterday over the Texas Rangers as they have one more day via spring training. And then after that, they wing their way back to Miller Park and they get ready for the opener against the Twins coming up on Thursday. Hauser yesterday gives up just a couple of hits in 5 2/3. Looks good yesterday. Struck out 6, only walked 1. Perdomo, which, by the way, is one of the best names in all of baseball. Reminds me of a good cigar sitting out back watching baseball. But Perdomo, a third of an inning, just gave up a hit and a strikeout. That was all she wrote. Hader yesterday, a completely clean inning and 3 strikeouts. 3 up, 3 down. How we looking? Devin Williams, a clean inning, exactly the same. And Boxberger, exactly the same. Solid outing yesterday via the pitching staff. Colton Wong did drop an 0 for yesterday, an 0 for 4. He wore the golden sombrero. Meanwhile, Keston Hura struck out a couple of times, but did have the one base knock. Christian Yelich capping off his spring training. An 0 for 2 effort yesterday. Did take a walk, did score a run. So good for him. Avisail Garcia, same thing. Walked, scored a run. Jackie Bradley Jr. Yesterday, 1 for 3 on the effort, batting .250 on the young spring training season for him as far as his time in camp. And Orlando Arcia 1 for 3 as well. A couple of RBI yesterday, so he creeps up upon the 200 mark when it comes to. But by the way, Urias, come on, 2 for 3 again yesterday. Scored a run, batting .314, .429 slugging percent or on base percentage, .543 slugging percentage. That cat's pretty much locked up the job at shortstop, without a doubt. I mean, maybe you play some statistics or some matchups or such, but for the most part, that's your shortstop. That's just the way it is. So excited for the Brewers to come north, getting ready for that. Kinger says, will you eat a brat or a wiener and drink a beer on Thursday to celebrate opening day? I'm going to do that, but I think I'm going to run down to Robert's Specialty Meats and I'm going to get myself the Al Capone roast, an individual Al Capone roast. And Kinger, I'm going to smoke it. I'm going to start it during the show and we'll put the tiki cam outside. And you'll be able to see the smoke coming off of the Traeger grill. I got to clean the Traeger, by the way. I might do that today. Got to clean the Traeger because the Traeger's had the fuel pellets sitting in there pretty much all winter. So I got to clean the Traeger. But I'm going to turn it on super smoke. I'm going to smoke that thing. and I'm gonna do the Al Capone roast from Robert's Specialty Meats. So I have a beer, a brat. I will have a couple of hot dogs, and I always put the hot dogs on the grill because the dogs eat them. And then I'm going to throw that Al Capone roast in there. See some of that dripping mozzarella, that provolone, wrapped around that prosciutto. And they've got that filet in the middle. It's all bacon wrapped. It's got all the different Italian. It's got pepperoni and everything wrapped around that thing. Oh, my God. It is silky smooth goodness in your grill. Jim says, what's an Al Capone roast? Jim, what I do is I would look up Robert's Waukesha. I think it's Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha or Robert's Meats Waukesha, and I'll tell you what the Al Capone roast is. Give me a commercial break to do the Al Capone roast to find out exactly what's in it, because it's just simply fantastic. It really, really is. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Dave says, is the girlfriend going to be there? No, she works. She's going to be working. She won't be over until Thursday night. So, but she's not going to be there. Sorry. It's not like she's going to be outside cooking in a French maid's outfit or something like that. Nope, just going to be me. Just going to be me. Hanging out and getting ready for baseball and all that kind of goodness. So the Packers have re-signed Tyler Lancaster. You've got to the Bucks lose yet again, 129-105, and they got just beat up. They first of all, last night the Clippers hit 19 three-pointers. The defense the Bucks played last night was absolutely, positively putrid last evening. Putrid. They got, as a matter of fact, the Clippers, they outscored the Bucks in second chance points 25-6. 25-6. It was a bad game. The Bucks lose yet again. Bucks off today, back at it again. Same place tomorrow night as they take on the Lakers. The second half of the LA duo. Chad says, hey, Bill, I've always wondered why no love for Orlando Arcia. Always Green Bay. Or always wondered. I'm sorry. Always wondered. Because Orlando Arcia has never been consistent. He's never been. He gets love when it's deserved. I talked about that yesterday. I said, look, Orlando Arcia, when he's hot, he's hot. He's tremendous. But even last year and the year prior to that, his fielding percentage started to drop. His offense wasn't that good. Really, you go back a couple of years, he was probably the best they had in the postseason. But the regular season, it was terrible. And he cannot, for the life of him, put together. Let me ask you this. Why should I give Orlando Arcia any love? Tremendous defensive player. But regarding anything else, what? There's no consistency. He's a career 220 hitter. He can't climb above 200 for most of the season. Then he does. So put it together for about 40 at bats, get up to about 210, 220, and then just completely tail off. Offensively, he's awful. He's an absolute positive sinkhole in that lineup. Has been for a long time. So I don't know why there should be love for Orlando Arcia. That would be more the question. Why should there be? He's just not that good of a baseball player. Eight 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670 if you want to chime in. Feel free. This is from Joe. Says, good to hear you live again. Bruce says, why have they lost so many in a row? It's not 2 in a row. It's 3 or 4 in a row they've lost, the Bucks? I think it's 3 in a row they've lost. Well, they had some injuries. So the other night, hardly anybody played. You had Giannis out. You had Drew Holiday out. Bobby Portis has the COVID. Well, they call it the health and safety protocol, but we all know what it is. Then you've got PJ Tucker, the newest Buck, has played a few games, and then he had the calf strain, so he's been out. So they've been without some players. That's one of the reasons. But last night they started to get their complement back, and then it just kind of went by the wayside. It looked terrible last night. Terrible. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to chime in, feel free to do it. By the way, I screwed up on Orlando Arcia. He's a career 244 hitter. 244. Last year, 260. Not bad, not great. Short season. The year before that, 223, 236. 277 was back in 2017. 2016, he batted 219. His career OPS is 660. That stinks. So that's the reason I don't give him a lot of love. Just an FYI. Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break. We'll come back. Got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show, which is coming up right around the corner. You want to chime in? Do it. Phone lines wide open. 877-867-1670. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show on the air, and got some people that have taken exception, as we have Orlando Arcia fans that are out there. I gave Orlando Arcia credit a few years ago, especially in the Dodgers series. He was one of the only guys that really performed pretty well. And when it came to offensive output in the postseason, he was tremendous. I completely agree with that. But in his career, he has been anything but consistent. He either gets off to a really fast start and you finally go, okay, this is the Orlando RC we know, and then he just completely craps out, or he starts out horrifically and then after a while just falls by the wayside. He'll pour it on for a little bit, and it never happens. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. But like I said, in that Dodgers series, man, go back a couple of years, what was it, 2018? He was solid. He hit above 350 that year. He was really good. But you go back, what was it, last year? He didn't do anything. It was like a 140 something. It was back against Washington. I think he was average. I think he was 250, 240, somewhere in there. But he has not been good. He's not been good. Now, his fielding percentage has been really good. And then last year, it took a bit of a dip. Not huge, but a bit of a dip. But really, a couple of years ago, he was solid. A couple of years ago, he's always been about a 970 fielder, and that dropped off a little bit last year. And last year it was just a struggle for everybody in many different aspects. But I looked at his numbers not that long ago, and he just, like I said, he's just too inconsistent. Just too inconsistent. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. And we're talking Brewers baseball. We started out talking a little bit about Packers, but more people have an interest in the Brewers. The Brewers are right on the horizon, getting their season underway. And this one's from Max, who says, what do you think of Garcia? Obviously, Garcia, I really like. I've said this before, I like the depth. I like the ability to be able to go right, left, right, or put lefties out there. I mean, Lorenzo Cain, another righty. You can move guys around. You may even see Christian Yelich go back over to right a couple of times. So they can move him around. They can put him in right. They can put him in left. You can, Jackie Bradley Jr., obviously, you can put him right. You can put him in center. You can play him almost anywhere. So I like the versatility the outfield has. But I like the fact that they've got a good mix in their lineup and on their bench of lefties and righties. Colton Wong batting leadoff and with that left-handed ability that he has and the ability to even give you a little bit of power. Maybe at Miller Park, he hits instead of 9 to 10 home runs, maybe he gives you 12 to 15. Maybe even though they're going to play in this, quote, dead ball era, maybe he gives you 12 to 15 home runs this year, gives you an average of 260 or better, an on-pace percentage of maybe 335, 345, which would be great. Set the table a little bit more for guys like Cain and guys like Yelich. Keston Hiura's power numbers are coming out of spring training a little bit better than what maybe I thought they would be. So, and then you protect, a guy like Travis Shaw. You wrap him around with Keston Hiura and Jackie Bradley Jr. and Urias. And Urias is playing extremely well coming out of spring training. So I'm looking forward to not only the defense, because I think the defense is going to be really, really solid, but just the numbers, just what they're able to do, the depth that they have to be able to manipulate the roster and the lineup. I'm excited for the season. I really am. Chris said the same thing. Excited for the season. Thanks again for the time yesterday on the show. Chris, you the man. I was on Chris Cooper's podcast yesterday. Good stuff there. Jim says baseball coming back with a full schedule. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. So I would assume that they're going to, they're going to have COVID testing and protocols and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to see that implemented. And there's going to be a time when some teams are probably going to test and they're going to have to put, guys in quarantine and such. And the same thing they're doing right now for what they did for, football players and testing in facilities and all that kind of stuff, albeit the more, and I know they're kind of easing restrictions, but especially when the media was notified that, hey, it's not that they require it, but they're highly, quote, wink, 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 suggesting that maybe you go get your shot. And if you've got the card that says you've had your shot, then you're able to mix and mingle. You're able to maybe get back down on the field at some point. Maybe they start to open things up a little bit more at some point. You're still talking to guys from a 6-foot distance, but maybe you're allowed to, do a few things in that realm. So they're more heading towards opening things up, which is terrific, terrific news. Then maybe a little bit faster than I thought they were. Honestly, maybe just a little bit faster than I thought they were, but it's exciting news nonetheless. Exciting news. Gino says, my mind on the Green Bay Packers. Gutekunst has tore his blank up. Needs to be a RA. Look, as much as I want to talk about Brian Gutekunst, right now, everything is quiet. Everything's quiet. There's going to be, other than signing your own, there's going to be very little happening, I think. I think everything's just going to kind of remain quiet and until you get to the draft and then to the June 1st deal, I think it's just going to kind of remain out there in limbo. Our buddy Dwayne says, I think some friends and I are taking a half day off watching the Brewer game at our sports bar, Lopnow's, here in Wausau. Some cold beer, some peanuts. Let's go. I like it. Like it a lot. Like it a lot. Where are you going to be watching the game? And are you going to get the game? Are you even going to get the game in your area? I know that was an area of consternation for quite some time. Do you even have access to the game? That's the next question. Jeff said, let's go, boys. Crack the beers. Brewers, baby. How are we looking? I like it. Like it a lot. And then Mark says that did you see that there's interest in Cordell Patterson coming to Green Bay? Yeah, and Ronald just said the same thing. Yeah, I have seen that. Look, there's probably more than a few that are out there that have an interest in playing for the Packers, which is good to hear because we didn't necessarily hear that for a while. That people were actually looking over the fence saying, hey, Green Bay's a place I want to go. But the difference in guys wanting to come and wanting to play versus the guys that are actually going to be signed by the Packers, Cordell Patterson would be a serious upgrade over what they've had as far as kickoff returns and such. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he's a guy that's been there, done that, and that would at least bolster special teams. But I don't think you're going to go out and pay a guy to be just a special teams player. You know what I mean? I just don't think it's going to happen. Mike says, what about virus testing for Major League Baseball this year? Mike, they're going to do that. They're going to test. I don't know what the daily process is going to be. I don't know how often they're going to do it. But you have not heard hardly anything about testing in Major League Baseball, specifically in spring training. You haven't heard about guys being put into protocols, have you? Think about it. It's what you haven't heard. You haven't heard anything about that. There's been a couple of guys you could probably look at and say, yeah, there's a few that stepped away for a while for whatever reason, but you haven't heard about guys going in. Not like last year. Not like last year. Now that the vaccine is out, a lot of these guys are getting vaccinated. And I'm not quite sure I'm not quite sure if teams are getting vaccinated or if they still have to wait or how that works. But I do know that they still went through testing and protocol when they first got to spring training. Remember, there was only like 8 positive tests out of 9,000. Mark says, have you heard anything about Fox Sports Wisconsin getting back to most television providers soon? I'm blocked out with YouTube TV and refuse to go back to the overpaid prices. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I haven't followed it closely. I do know that Major League Baseball, I understand because it's a commercial advertising issue. So I understand because Fox Sports Wisconsin sells the rights to the Brewers games to advertisers. So if you give it to Hulu or you give it to YouTube or you give it to any of the other streaming providers, then they want to run their own commercials. So therefore, Fox is producing the broadcast, but the other entities want to run their own commercials. Basically, they don't have to pay for any of the production of it. And that's what the argument is. And I get it. Look, if I have a product and I'm selling it and you're going to pull my logo off of it and sell your own stuff, then it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to produce the product other than the fact that I would be getting paid for it. Well, the streaming providers just want access. They want to pay the Brewers, but Fox Sports Wisconsin saying, wait a minute, we're not going to go through all the painstaking work of not only paying you to do this, but being the rights holder, and then you're going to give it away to somebody else, what we do. So I get it. I get it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show, which is coming up. And in addition to that, we want to get back into some Brewers chatter because coming up, there's a lot of you telling me where you're going to be at. I'm liking it. Where are you going to be at on Thursday? What you going to be doing? We'll even check back in on Thursday as to what everybody else has going on. But baseball right around the corner. And for those that say who's coming north and what's the final roster, and you know what? We can go through it. That's fine. But it's a game. It's one game. Beyond that, once the season starts, it's just a manipulation of the roster. And after that, who really cares? More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Excited opening day. Only a couple of days away is the Brewers' one more contest. The Texas Rangers in Texas. That's coming up later on today. And then you've got the Brewers winging their way back to Miller Park, where they're going to get a workout tomorrow. And then it is opening day 2021. And excited about all of that. Extremely excited about all of that. Hey, for Cubs fans, no bitterness or indignation in first baseman Anthony Rizzo. Instead, they, being some of his other, players around him, so to speak, said nobody knows what the future holds as some of these guys get ready to make it kind of their last hurrah in Chicago. Rizzo, who was with the Cubs at the beginning of their rebuild back in 2012, was a big part of that World Series championship. He said it's part of the business. But obviously it didn't work out for us thus far as winning another championship. He said, I love what Wrigley Field and being a Chicago Cub is all about. But if I'm not here anymore, I'm at peace with it. These guys gear up for the last hurrah. The Cubs have already dumped Yu Darvish for salary relief this winter, refused to spend $4 million to keep their starter John Lester around and outfielder Kyle Schwarber. Those two guys actually ended up going over to Washington. Now they're doing the same thing with their nucleus, telling Rizzo that his desire for a long-term commitment does not fit into their plans. Stopped extension talks with Chris Bryant years ago, and they're not making any progress in negotiations with their shortstop, Avi Baez. Looks like all three guys could have their last hurrah in Chicago before it's all said and done. The Cubs' only chance to keep this group around is by winning and thus throwing off the ownership group's plans for, quote, another rebuild. And if they struggle in the first half of the season, get ready to have the Cubs stars come to a city near you by the July 31st trade deadline. How about that? The Cubs have a $155.5 million payroll this year, about $55 million shy of the luxury tax, but no longer are willing to push their payroll to the limits. They have $53.65 million coming off of their payroll with pending free agents Rizzo, Bryant, Baez, and closer Kimbrel, leaving just $40.5 million on the books next year. And you wonder why Theo Epstein walked away. He didn't want to be a part of it. He's like, look, this isn't going to happen. You continually try to win. And the Cubs, being that big market, with their brand new television station, their own station, and all the money that they're garnering and everything they've done. Now, granted, the Ricketts have put a lot of money into Wrigley Field and the surrounding area. But with the Marquee Network and everything they have going on there, the Cubs, let me say it again, the Cubs are crying poor mouth. The Cubs are crying poor mouth after putting all of that together and being the poster child for what to do. Get all your scouts, international, national, get them all together, get them all with the same philosophy, treat them all the same, pay the international players, get the deals done, send the best talent, the best scouts out everywhere to acquire the talent. They tore it down. They got high draft choices. They picked up what they thought was quality guys. They built themselves into a championship. We all know pitching reigns supreme, and their pitching had fallen off a little bit. But they still had a pretty good offensive team. And instead of saying, let's get some long-term deals and this and that, they went with the sabermetrics and said, you know what? After a guy turns 27 or 28, he then begins the descent of his Major League Baseball career. His hand-eye coordination in conjunction with his mind apex at about 28, 29 years old. Therefore, they're going to start declining, and we don't want to commit any long-term money to any of these players. No matter how good they are, we know they're going to decline, so we're not going to pay them. And the Cubs, with all their money, are the team that's saying, nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. We're not going to pay them. And thus, they're going to begin the rebuild. So for Cubs fans that are all hyped up, I mean, this is kind of it. Now, it doesn't mean that they couldn't pay some of these guys, you know? But, as Anthony Rizzo said, he's learning firsthand about loyalty to a team. He said it's been an amazing ride, and I don't think it's over yet. It's part of the business. This is a business, and you need to separate it because every business person will tell you there's no friendship in business. But Baez, Rizzo, and company, one, but not all three are, and they know that. So for the Brewers and what they're doing as they piecemeal some players together and add some depth and get some small contracts and such, it's kind of nice to see the Brewers not necessarily, putting $150 to $180 million on the table every year, but it's kind of nice to see what the Brewers have done to continually pick up quality pieces and not allow those pieces to really drag them down. I would still like to see a little bit more done at times, but I'm excited about this season. Now we all know what the sinkhole is, and hopefully Travis Shaw proves us all wrong because right now it's third base for the most part. That third base hitting in the power numbers at third base and at first base for that matter over the last couple of years have been somewhat down. But if you can get Keston Hiura to give you some of the power numbers and Vogelbach, when he gets playing time, to also bolster that, then at least one of your corners is giving you some power numbers while the third base position may or may not continue to struggle. We'll wait and see. But this is it for the Cubs. Isn't it? I don't root for the demise. It's funny. Isn't it odd as a Brewers fan that I don't root for the demise of the Cubs? Because I love the rivalry. I want that to stay relevant. I want the Brewers to continue to beat the Cubs, but I want the Brewers to continue to beat the Cubs with both teams being somewhat full strength. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're like me in that sense, but I like it when the Cubs are good, and I like it when the Brewers beat the Cubs when they're good. Because if the Cubs are about to do what I think they're about to do, they're tearing it down. $46 million on the books next year. That's it. They're tearing it down. That's a rip apart. That's a start over. That's an admittance of we are going to, unless they do something different, we are going to suck for a couple of years and go back to the formula that got us a championship. But remember, in Major League Baseball, you have to get everything to piece it together properly. It took them a while. To put all that together. It wasn't easy. So for the Cubs to say we're going to blow it all apart, rip it up, and then start over again. Now, nobody said that officially, but it's certainly the indicators are that they're heading in that direction. 877-867-1670. Do you like it when the Cubs are relevant? Do you like it when the Cubs are good? Or do you, you know what? Maybe you're a hardcore Brewers fan and you just want to do nothing but dance on their grave. And I can't blame you. Because Cubs fan has not made it necessarily easy in the last, we'll say, 8 to 10 years to look at them and go, you know what? I'm going to have a little pity on your soul. Nay, nay. If anything, it's been the opposite. It's been very easy to go, God, I can't wait till you suck again. You'll suck again. I can't wait. There you go. 877-867-1670. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. But do you like the fact that the Cubs are already looking over the proverbial shoulder of ripping it apart? Ripping it apart. And if you're a Cubs fan, you got to be livid, right? You got to be livid. Ricketts come in, take it over, put money into the team. They start spending all this money on Wrigleyville and all the different things they got going on in the dugouts and down in the clubhouses. They're building all this area up. They're blocking the views and taking everything back from the fans, and the fans are up in arms, but that's okay because you got a good team. And now they're saying, look, we're going to go back to being the lovable losers after this season. Quite possible. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Billy man, come on.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We go on. Yes, we do. Glad to have you. Bill Michaels Show on many different platforms. You can find us on Twitch, find us on Facebook, YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. And don't forget, MadCitySportsZone.com. That's MadCitySportsZone.com. The best area for our flagship station out of Madison. You can go to listen live, so you can take us anywhere and everywhere if you choose to do so. Mark, I got to correct you. Mark says the Brewers aren't going to have enough offense. Look what they did this spring training. They hit the ball well, but not well enough. They are going to be drowned by the Cubs, signed Mark Cubby Blue. Mark, you are going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed. I guess that's the best way to put it. As the Brewers, in team batting average so far, spring training batted .258. The Cubs batted .263. Team OPS, the Brewers batted .831. The Cubs .830. Just an FYI. The Brewers hit 44 home runs. The Cubs have hit 43. The Brewers have had 144 RBI. The Cubs 139. The Brewers have taken 102 free passes. The Cubs 94. The Brewers have hit 51 doubles. The Cubs 44. So the Cubs have a little bit better batting average. The Brewers have a better OPS, but they are still, when you look at the top teams, if you just simply go by OPS, the top teams in baseball, the Brewers are number 3, the Cubs are number 4. So to say that the Cubs are far better, Mark, my friend, Cubby Mark, you, my friend, have been hitting every mask, every one. You've confiscated, hogged, and hoarded every one of the 5-mask skull bong, my friend. You may want to breathe deeply, fresh air, and come to a reality. Just an FYI. Just wanted to let you know. James says, I don't mind if the Cubs are somewhat relevant. James hitting us over on the Facebook fan page, watching the program. He said, the Cardinals, I wish, would give the Pirates a run for their money in pure suckness. Are you going to opening day weekend? I am going to be there, I believe, on Sunday, yes. Yes, I will be. Brewers going to win 88 games. That's from our buddy, the Kingers. The Kingers says also the Cubs 78. A 10-game disparity between the two. I like it. I like what you're thinking. I like the direction that you're going. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you choose to chime in, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Mike said, I don't believe the Cubs are going to bring back all of their players. However, I can't imagine them letting Javi Baez walk, especially if he's going to have another MVP type of season. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you have that type of, put it this way, though. If he does, then his price goes up. So it may make it, if the Cubs are indeed not interested in adding payroll, it would make it even a higher payroll jam down their throat in that sense. So I would not assume that Javi Baez, if he does have a really good season, would be back with the team. Just think about that. Our buddy Gino says, love the dogs, Mickey and Elmo. He's got an American Bulldog, you the man. For those that do watch on the live stream. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. One of the things that I thought was rather interesting, if you did not happen to see this, speaking of the COVID testing, did you see Kim Mulkey, the Baylor Lady Bears head basketball coach, and what she said after? First of all, Kim Mulkey, look, she's wearing a mask, she's coaching basketball, whatever eye makeup she had on must have smeared all over her face because she looked like she got beat in the face like a raccoon, okay? Her eyes are dark, like she hasn't slept in like 18 months type of dark, okay? So I hope that woman gets some sleep. Maybe she's not feeling well, maybe under the weather. But she said, after the games today and tomorrow, there's 4 teams left. I think on the men's side and the women's side, she said, they need to dump the COVID testing. Wouldn't it be a shame to keep keep COVID testing, and then you got kids that test positive or something, and they don't get to play in the Final Four? So you just need to forget COVID tests and get the 4 teams playing in each Final Four and go battle it out. So in other words, throw it by the wayside. Now, you know me. You've listened to this program. I am pretty conservative when it comes to the COVID tests and the masks and such. I believe in it. I believe in the vaccine. I believe in herd immunity. I believe in those that have had it. I believe what the science tells me. Although I do not believe specifically the numbers and what we've heard governmentally, because it's been a completely overblown lie in many senses, only for the fact that I've got friends that work in hospitals that tell me what's actually going on, as opposed to what some of the numbers have told us. So I get it. There's 2 sides to all of this. However, I am all for the protection of student athletes. I am all for the protection of those that are actually playing the game. I am all for the protection of the trainers. I am protection for the coaches, for the officials that are doing this, for everybody involved, until it is safer to emerge in that particular forum as to not risk the health and wellness for a game. I would say I'd continue to test. And that's coming from me. But she is receiving all kinds of, are you kidding me? Are you cray-cray? Kim Mulkey, the head coach of the Baylor Lady Bears. The NCAA should do away with COVID testing for the Final Four, she says. Talk about somebody else that might have been picking up one of the masks on the table. That coffee table in the dorm that had one of the 5 masks or the 5 mask skull bongs, I think she might have had 1 or 2. I think she might have had 1 or 2 of those things. Getting a little crazy. I can't believe that fast we got an hour down. An hour down. An hour down already. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. 3 more yet to go. Adding on affiliates as we speak. We'll be back right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, despite 32 points from Giannis Antetokounmpo and Drew Hollow chipping in 24, the Milwaukee Bucks would suffer the 3rd straight loss, this time falling to the Clippers in L.A. 129-105. The Bucks will continue on with their 6-game road trip, Game 2 Wednesday night against the Lakers. The Deer are also adding another veteran piece to their bench as the Bucks have signed free agent guard Jeff Teague. The 32-year-old was waived by Orlando after being traded there by Boston last week. To Wisconsin football, September 4th, the Badgers will host the Penn State Nittany Lions at Camp Randall Stadium. But a lot of preparation goes into starting a season, like spring practice, which starts today. Here's more from head coach Paul Christ.
I think it's really important, and it's not always something you can control, certainly, but, spring, you have 15 practice opportunities, and you sure want to have everyone available that you can, because it's such a great time to develop. And so hopefully we can stay relatively injury-free and be able to maximize this opportunity.
Have you thought of a career in a skilled trade like plumbing, electrical, or HVAC? Associated Builders and Contractors of Wisconsin is educating 1,500 apprentices in its 12 state-approved programs through 11 technical colleges. With apprenticeship, you earn money while you learn. To get started as an apprentice, visit buildyourcareerwi.org or just search for ABC of Wisconsin online.
Opening day is just 2 more days away for the Milwaukee Brewers when they welcome in the Twins to American Family Field. But in their second-to-last spring training game, the Brewers would blank the Texas Rangers last night 4-0, as Adrian Hauser would pitch 5 2/3 scoreless innings, while every Brewers batter but one in the starting lineup reached base at least once. Milwaukee and Texas will play again tonight in their final tune-up for each team. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show, and we are glad You're hanging out on this Tuesday, a couple of days away from opening day. Talking a little Brewers baseball. Talking a lot of Brewers baseball today. I didn't expect the conversation to kind of trail off into this direction, to be quite honest with you. I thought today would have been more, you get Tyler Lancaster signing. You've got a lot of pro days going on. I know the big one is Ohio State today, but you got some pro days going on. You got a lot of thoughts regarding the draft, and still the hot discussion is to get more of Jordan Love and more witnesses of Jordan Love as to what he can actually do. You got the NFL owners meeting on the horizon, all that kind of stuff. 17-game season, and we're talking a lot of baseball today. A lot of comments regarding baseball today. I like it. I like it from all of you that are out there. By the way, I did get a message, and this was from Rick. It said, hopefully you get to the new affiliates that are going to bring some callers. Need to hear from our friends in Milwaukee and Green Bay in the Appleton area to get some of the regular callers back. We're working on that, Rick. Believe me, it's not something that we're ignoring. But I will say this. The live stream for what we have, not only over at MadCitySportsZone.com, but the live stream on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and such, has been so many people have chimed in. It's replaced calls almost. So while we're not hearing the other voices, we are getting a lot of commentary from people that have the ability to just kind of pick up their phone and hit a couple of buttons and text us or tweet us or hit us up over on the live stream. The live stream's been fantastic. I mean, I absolutely love it. It's a tremendous way for us to interact on a daily basis. And I absolutely love the live stream. I didn't think I would, but I really do. And obviously it is the wave and the way that the future of broadcast is going in many facets. Kinger says 50 hours away from first pitch. Damn straight. Loving it. Dwayne, how many fans are the Brewers allowing in the stadium? I'm loving the tiki cam. Next, we'll have to put the margarita cam out there. Man, I can't wait for those again. Oh, see, Dwayne was at the house party. See, I had a house party here. I didn't do it last year. I did it the year before. So the house party, because last year during COVID didn't do it. I had a small one, but it was a small gathering. But everybody's in quarantine. Nobody wanted to do anything, and I understand that. But 2 years ago, we had the house party, and it was rocking. That was back when I was married, and it was a lot of good friends of mine that had come over, and we do this once a year. I do 3 parties a year at the house. Okay, now it's because I have a girlfriend, but 3 parties a year at the house. I do the summer party, which is the tiki party. I do the winter party, which is the ugly sweater party, and then I do the Super Bowl party. Those are the 3 big ones that people kind of mark on their calendar, and they say, okay, we know it's coming. And that's the one you want to show up for. 2 years ago, we did the tiki party, and the bonfire was going, and it was about 80 degrees that day. It was great. So the tiki hut was all lit up. The music was playing. The fire pit was going. But I started making the margaritas. Now, there's a trick to making a really good margarita, a strawberry margarita, okay? And you're going to do it a blended, okay, not just over ice. So do the blended. So what you do is you take a full-size blender and you cut up strawberries, okay? And I'm talking like a whole big thing of them, all right? A whole big thing of strawberries. You dump them in there. And you put ice on top of it. You fill it up with ice, and then you get that strawberry margarita mix. You know what I'm talking about? It's that big jug, okay? And you dump that in, all right, until it's just about full. And then what you do is you add about a cup of sugar, all right? And once you get it to where you can't fit anything else in there, you melt all that ice in there by pouring in as much Jimmy Buffett silver tequila as you can possibly fit in there. Just keep going, and the ice melts and melts and melts and melts, and you keep adding it and adding it and adding it. And then when you get a little bit extra room, then you add a little more sugar. And then you turn that thing on. And you let it go and go and go and go and go until it's almost a watery type of look, but you know it's thick because it's got the ice chips in it. Then you go ahead and serve that thing up. And it's so strawberry sweet tasting. It's the best. And then what happens is You don't realize how much tequila is in it. Because we had people at the party that are out by the fire, and our buddy Dave Carney in La Crosse knows this, because he had his, at the time, he had his, Matt Scrady was working with him. Scrady's sitting at the fire, and he's like, this is great. This is what America should be. This is really, next thing you know, about 10 minutes later, he's like, hey, America. And he's smoking a cigar, and then he's holding a sparkler and a drink, and had no clue what his name was. And that was the kind of party. We were Ubering everybody back to hotels after that. That's a good party. So yes, we need one more of those parties relatively soon. It's always good. It's always good. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to chime in? Go ahead and give us a shout. 877-867-1670. So we're talking some Brewers baseball and getting into the whole Brewers and the Cubs thing. And look, I get it. I understand it. There's going to still be the rivalry. Understandable. You know, Brewers, by the way, on the spring training season, 14-11. The Cubs are 15-9. 4 ties, by the way. The Brewers with 3 ties on the spring training season. The Brewers were 5-8 at American Family Fields of Phoenix. Cubs were 7-4 at their place of residence. Brewers were 9-3 on the road. Versus righties, they were 8-5. Versus lefties, they were 6-6. And whatever. You know what? You can go through all the statistics from spring training, and then when you're done, you can transcribe them all onto Charmin toilet paper because it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Let's wait and see what actually happens after the first, say, 3-4 weeks of the season. And then we'll get it going. Then we'll get it on. Because let's be honest, do you really expect Kansas City to be a contender this year? Are you looking at Kansas City as to having this major resurgence? Yeah, Kansas City was the leading team in the Cactus League, by the way, at 16-8. The White Sox are expected to be really good, even though they did have some injuries. They were in the middle of the pack. Cincinnati, who's expected to be good, they were 7-19-2, and they were dead last in Cactus League play. They suck swamp water. I still think they're going to suck this year, but everybody else is telling me they're going to be good, and I just don't want to believe it. I just don't think they're going to be. Boston, by the way, the team that sucks swamp water in the AL East, was 3rd best in the Grapefruit League, 16-10-2. So again, I go back to, yeah, you can look at all the different statistics, but when it comes to spring training, I really don't care. Let's get it going. Let's get it going for real. Let's get it going for real. That's what I want to talk about. Let's get it going for real. 877-867-1670. Hey, Unit, do you think Colton Wong's the best leadoff hitter they have, or would you put somebody else there? Well, the only other guy you could put there probably would be a guy like Jackie Bradley Jr. Lorenzo Cain, he has hit there before, but he's pretty comfortable in that second role. Who else are you going to put there? Maybe Urias, if you want to do that. The way he's hitting the ball right now, Urias could be that guy. If you want to put somebody with a better, we'll say average and on-base percentage right now at the top of that lineup. So you've got a couple of options. Max says, what about Travis Shaw? No, I'm not putting Travis Shaw at the top of the lineup. That's not happening at all. Not right now. Not the way he's somewhat struggled at the plate. Not going to do that. But you've got a couple of options. But Colton Wong's going to be your leadoff hitter. And you know what? He really is kind of relishing that role. I go with a guy that wants to be there. Because leadoff hitter is not necessarily the best way to go. It's not easy. Not easy at all. Kim says, I can't wait for the Brewers season to get here. Going to be going out to a couple of different bars and watching some of the innings, depending on how many people are out and what kind of atmosphere there is. Do you think it's going to be crowded? That's a great question. I don't know. I want to say that people are going to want to get out. It's opening day. It's people are going to want to take a half day or what have you. But it's not a traditional year in the sense of everybody going out and partying. It's kind of like the NCAA tournament. I mean, on the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, Milwaukee Sports Bar Stenny's, which is where I go more often than not, the first 2 days on Friday and Saturday, it was packed. I mean, it was to the capacity they were allowed. It was capacity. Now in Waukesha, they've opened it up. As long as you're adhering to some of the protocols, they can go back to max capacity. They're like, COVID, it's a fad. So they're going back to doing everything. They're opening things wide up. Now, Madison, you're only allowed one person per restaurant in the restaurant at the time. That's it. They're pretty much locked down. No, I'm kidding. Madison's a little more open than that, but Madison's more conservative in the sense of not wanting to open things up when it comes to bars and restaurants. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's the area in which you live. And if you want to get out, go enjoy yourself. Mark says, what do you think about the season Christian Yelich is about to have? I'm anticipating a 300-plus year. You know what? 300-plus for Christian Yelich, that'd be great. But I'm not – I just want to see 280 or better. You know, I mean, I don't have a specific number in mind. A lot of us get caught up into this expectation of what they're supposed to have. What was their best year? Well, their best year was a 310 average. Okay, I expect him to hit 310. Well, if that's his best year, you can't expect him to do that. What you expect is more of the average. Hit your average. What is your overall career average? That's what I'm expecting out of Christian Yelich. And then anything he gives you up and above that, then, well, that's fantastic. So that's what I'm looking for. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Hit us up. If you want to chime in, feel free to go ahead and do it. Feel free to go ahead and do it. Your spring training leaders, by the way. Christian Yelich not there when it comes to overall batting average. As a matter of fact, you don't have anybody in the top 10 when it comes to home runs. Jock Peterson is pretty much lighting it up for Chicago. On base percentage, yeah, you don't have Ian Happ for the Cubs. Now you got to have qualifying at bats too. But yeah, you don't. There's nothing there that's jumping out at you when it comes to offensive prowess in spring training. And quite frankly, I mean, I know people want to look at this, but I really don't care. Corbin Burns, by the way, if you want to get into this, as far as just maybe a prelude to what could be on the horizon, but he was 7th in baseball, in all of baseball, in strikeouts in Cactus League play. Now, some of the time you have to have the innings to be able to do that, but he ended up with 26 strikeouts. Giolito had 30. He was the best, but 26 strikeouts for Corbin Burns, who tied for 7th with strikeouts. So that's really about it. That's really about it. Beyond that, I really, who cares? You can get caught up in all these statistics, but it really, until you get it going for real, it really doesn't do much for me. You know? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And the Brewers, as we had stated earlier today, one more game they've got. They're at Texas. One more game. They got the Texas Rangers coming up. And today's game, the Brewers and the Rangers, the second of 2 games at Globe Life Field. The Brewers winning 4-0 yesterday. Eric Yardley and Drew Rasmussen scheduled to pitch this afternoon, by the way. You take it. And Brett Anderson, by the way, going to make his 6th spring training start today. Anderson went 4-4 with a 4.21 ERA and 10 starts during his first season with the Brewers. Went 5-5 in his starts and made 4 quality starts. So hopefully he can continue to pitch well, get ready for the season, and just move on. I'm good with that. Other than that, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. I'm excited for Brewers baseball now. Brett Anderson and Mike What is it? Foldnowitz? Foldnowitz is throwing today, the righty for Texans at the Texas Rangers at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Don't forget, at Arlington, Texas, they're going to have capacity at the new stadium coming up for opening day. Capacity. They're like, come on in. Wear your mask. Take off your skin. Rattle it around in your bones. Let's do this on that note. Once I start singing, I know it's time for me to go to break. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. A lot more of this to get to. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show. That is coming up, and that's next.
Cover Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. What the hell is going on with the live feed? It's got things floating all over it, man. It's oh my goodness. It had palm trees and flowers and everything else floating around there. That's fantastic. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free to do so. We were talking some Brewers baseball here just for a short period of time, and I want to get back into the opposite thing, that is football. When you talk baseball, early on, we got Brewers baseball coming up here in a couple of days, but you got Packers football, which is pretty much year-round. And the question regarding the Green Bay Packers, and I saw this earlier today, is at what point do you start to really kind of, if indeed there's going to be this stalemate, if you will, at what point do you begin to work in Jordan Love? And look, I think to me, it's an absolutely asinine argument. I know people will disagree with me. I think it's stupid. I really do. I think to sit here and talk about this now, it's so unbelievably obvious, and yet it's so unbelievably unnecessary. The obviousness of it is he's going to get a ton of playing time when it comes to preseason. He's going to get a ton of looks and the ability to run the scout team and all that kind of stuff. And snaps in the regular season when it comes to practice snaps. He's the guy. You know, unless something happens and the Packers decide, hey, Tim Boyle's going to come back and take the majority of snaps. I mean, Jordan Love's the guy. Jordan Love is going to be the man. And he's going to take all the snaps that Aaron Rodgers doesn't. It's that simple. So you're going to find out in the next 6 to 8 months what you have in this guy. And you're gonna put him through all his paces, and you're gonna let him play a little bit with the ones and see what he's got, and you're gonna watch him in preseason and figure it out. And then the determination will be made whether or not you have enough there, either at the end of this season or the next season. If indeed you decide that you do not want to hang on to Aaron Rodgers, then you'll make your move. Or you showcase him enough that teams would say, hey, I would have an interest in trading for him if indeed that's the direction you would like to go, if you're going to hang on to Aaron Rodgers for an extended period of time. There's no rush on this, but this is odd, or not odd. This is obvious stuff. I don't know why this becomes a topic. Quite honestly, it's you know, I got emails on it. I know sometimes people wake up in the morning and they watch the overhyped caricature of himself, Mike Greenberg, in that Get Up show. And this is going to change the direction of the NFL. You know, no, it's not. Shut up. Just stop. That was one of the discussions is it Jordan Love time? You know, well, you haven't seen the guy take a snap, so just stop. But then what happens is I start getting emails on this, or people tweeting or what have you, and saying, hey, what are you hearing? Well, there's nothing new. This is what they're going to do. There's nothing new here. Tyler Lancaster was the big signing today. If you're just tuning in, that's it. Tyler Lancaster coming back. Details not disclosed. All right, I'm good with that. How are we looking? Okay. But that's it. That's it. Nothing more. Mark says, hey, Bill, love the program. Do you think the Dodgers are the new Yankees? What do you mean? Do you mean in the sense that they're spending all the money and buying up all the talent? If that's the case, then I would say yes. You know, yes. I mean, think about it. Look at the Padres. The Padres have spent a ton of money. They were kind of an afterthought to now a challenger, not only in the West, but in Major League Baseball. They're trying to knock the crown off of the team that is the traveling Death Star, and that is the LA Dodgers. So, yeah, it's they are. And the fact that they're in at least to us, the fact that they're in the National League makes it all the more makes it all the more obvious that you have got not necessarily a rivalry, but certainly a dislike for the Dodgers because they are now standing in the way of every other team in the National League, including the Milwaukee Brewers. So, but you know what? Again, I think baseball in its structure stinks because of the lack of a salary cap. But we can complain about it till we're blue in the face because we're never going to see a salary cap. I would be stunned if we saw one in our lifetime. Okay? But it's what we got to live with. And so, yeah, in that sense, the Dodgers, they are fast taking over as the new. Now, if they win another World Series and they continue to add pieces and continue to spend money and they're in the NLCS every year for the next couple of years and have a reign of dominance, much like the Yankees had from the late 90s into the early 2000s, then, yeah, they're going to be the evil empire. There's no doubt about that. For the amount of money that they're spending and what they're doing. And, yeah, that's obvious. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. I mean, when you look at the Dodgers overall, the Dodgers are sitting, I think $240 million in their payroll. The next closest team is the Yankees. And so we can talk about the Yankees in the sense of the evil empire, but the Yankees are under $200 million. They are being outspent by $40 million at the hands of the LA Dodgers. $40 million. So, yeah, it's the Yankees, but it's the Mets. The Mets as well. Now the Mets, they haven't had the consistent winning that the Yankees have had. So the Mets are just kind of considered a team that has somewhat stumbled and bumbled its way into this into the realm of could they possibly win the East? Washington, I think, got better. You still got Philly, you still got Miami, still got Atlanta, and then there's the Mets. You got those teams that are all, I think, pretty decent, trying to beat up one another for the top spot in the East. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Fred wants to know, can Arcia play third? I'd play him over Shaw right now. They have worked him over there a little bit. I think you're going to see both of those guys. I think you're going to see both of those guys get over there and play a little bit. They're going to give you both some time. I think they're going to move some guys around on the infield too, and I think Urias and Arcia are going to share some time. Arcia and Shaw are going to share some time. Kinger says, didn't Urban Meyer recruit Justin Fields? So why won't he take him number one overall? Because the NFL and college are different. Because what when you watch Justin Fields as a quarterback, what is the first thing you notice? The first thing, he runs. He's a runner. Running quarterbacks in the National Football League have a short shelf life. And unless they're an exceptional runner and passer, they have an even shorter shelf life. As much as I would love to say, look at who was the last acceptable quarterback coming out of The Ohio State University? It's Mike Tomczak, and he wasn't that good. That's how long it's been since you've had a really good quarterback. They're not that good. They're runners. And he's not exactly like Tim Tebow, but he's got that long looping motion of a throw. And I'll be honest, he doesn't make decisions real quick. He looks for guys. Now, he can throw into a window with a strong arm every now and then, but for the most part, he doesn't make the split second you need between your brain and your arm to actually throw the football. His is a little bit more of a half second. So yeah, it's I just don't think he's going to be that good. Now, what kills me is this. I'm watching the 4-letter network. I was watching the NFL, and all the draft gurus talk about, well, this guy's got this and he's got this and look at what he does here. And that's great. But to the eyeball test, and I want to see what these guys say after they fail, because nobody will ever go, you know what? I knew he'd suck. Nobody ever says that. I'm saying it. He's not going to be that great. I don't think. Dwayne Haskins, I said the same thing. Big, strong, look at the arm. Look at the way he can run and knock players up. Well, you're not going to do that in the NFL. In football, in college, you're probably going to have one, maybe two teams that are actually, pro caliber, defenders that you're going up against. You know what I mean? But for the most part, there's a lot of those guys. They're never going to see the pros. But in the pros, you're seeing a pro every damn day, which means you're not going to be anywhere near as good. It doesn't come that easy. Dwayne Haskins, he was never accurate. He was sometimes lucky if he threw it in the same stadium. So Justin Fields, I just don't think he has enough. Now, maybe he proves me wrong, but I'm just saying to the eyeball test, I just don't think I think he was a tremendous college quarterback. And for the system that they ran, for the ride and decide, all of that, yep, that's great. But going into the pros as a pocket passer, somebody that needs to be able to step back, then step up and deliver the football in a split second or in a closing window, I just don't think he's that good. Just never have. Never thought he was that good. I think he's a little bit overrated. I think anybody that because the boards are telling you that you have to go in that direction, he's the highest rated on the Mel Kiper big board. He's rocketed up the big board. Just stop. He hasn't done anything since the last time he played a game. He's got a pro day coming up. Who cares? I can go out. You know what? I'll look halfway decent throwing a football down the street in my underwear. Now, people aren't going to necessarily take me when it comes to the overall physical aspect of playing the position. But I've got a big, strong arm. I'm a big guy, 240, 6'6". Oh, yeah, he's got all the attributes. It doesn't matter. If you're a tub of goo trying to run around out there and you're not a good decision maker and you can't have that split-second decision-making process between your brain and your arm, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just saying. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show. Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Hey, our friends over at New Mail Medical Center, they are the original. The original when it comes to treating guys with ED. Been doing it a long time, and there's been some others that have come around, but they are the number one and the only one that you should be giving a call to. That's the New Mail Medical Center. The medical experts, they're helping guys with ED all over our great state and well beyond the borders. Erectile dysfunction, they have a 98% success rate. That is 98%, all but guaranteeing you that they can help you out. And when it comes to low energy or brain fog, or if you're feeling sluggish, you're a little bit moody, you're up and down, you don't know why, it could be some low T. If you're over the age of 30, they help me out with that. And it really does work. And I've sworn by this for a long, long time. Not to mention, I don't want to surpass the all-in-one weight loss program. And this is the reason why. Because coming out of COVID, there are some that have said, you know what? I am going to take the time off. I'm going to take the time at home. I'm going to build a gym. I'm going to get in better shape. Then there's others that have said, you know what? I have packed it on. More than a few friends of mine have said the same thing. That I've got the COVID 10, got the COVID 20, COVID 30, and they're packing it on. So look, if you've got the COVID whatever, all you got to do is call them. 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. That's the New Mail Medical Center. Call my guys. They have locations in Milwaukee and in Green Bay, but make sure you tell them we sent you. And get our plan cost, 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. It really does work, and they really can help, and that's our friends at New Mail Medical Center. You know what, Wade, I appreciate that because I thought so. And I had to go back and check. And for Kinger, who asked earlier about the Justin Fields and Urban Meyer was not there when Justin Fields got to the program. Justin Fields was a transfer from Georgia. So just to make a note of that. Dave says, thank you, Bill. Now I've got a picture of you running around in your underwear throwing footballs in my head. Not a good one. Not a good. I get it, man. And I'm not going to wear that. What is it? What is that Hanes underwear that guy freaks me out every time I see the commercial? Oh, ballants? It's got ballants. Oh, no, he's like doing all these different poses in the Hanes underwear. It looks like he came out after smoking some hashish. He's got a robe on, like a silk robe, and he's got the underwear on. He's like, you've got ballants. Oh, just freaks me out. I'm not going to be standing in a front street out there with good ballants, throwing a football. Nah, not going to do it. Not going to do it. By the way, Mark does say, though, there is a chance that the Bears would draft you as the quarterback if they could watch you throw a football in your underwear. Yeah, but I don't want to go play for the Bears. You know? Are you kidding me? Too much pressure. Too much pressure because I could end up being the greatest Bears quarterback in the last 50 years. I don't need that kind of pressure. Although it would give me opportunity for a different underwear commercial. You know? I wonder if Jockey makes a thong. Oh, my goodness. Kinger says he's going to take me in Madden tonight. There you go. Our buddy Dwayne says, if I see you throwing a football on the street in your underwear, I am not even drafting you in the 7th round. Just saying. I get it, man. I got a killer arm. I got a 60-yard arm, but I don't have scramble capability. Like Justin Fields today ran a 4.440. I got maybe you can time me with a calendar. That's about it. Maybe if you want to pull a stopwatch out, you know, if I know that the Al Capone roast is burning on my grill, I'm running back there. I could maybe bust a 4.6, 4.7 on you. Put out the flames, but that's about the extent of it. Oh, man. Yeah, we got to get Ebo to record the pro day. That's what we'll do. There we go. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Jason writes in the email inbox. He said, do you think the Packers are going to sign any more of their own free agents? I like the Lancaster signing. He seems to be a workhorse. He is. Tyler Lancaster, the one thing that I have referred to time and again by people that are in the know much better even than I. But, you know, the terminology that was being thrown around a lot when we were in Miami for Super Bowl, going back a year and a half, was guys. Dean Lowry, Tyler Lancaster, guys. And the head scratcher was when Lowry was given the contract, was it really worth it? I mean, you paid him on potential and you have the ability to cut it loose, but it just wasn't worth it. Didn't live up to the billing. Tyler Lancaster, I remember going back a few years and guys in that locker room saying, hey, watch Tyler. Watch him because, you know, he may not shine all the time, but that guy works his ass off, and he does. He does. You kind of like the effort, but he just doesn't have that consistent beatable ability. But he's a good depth guy. You know, he's a good depth guy. So I don't mind the signing at all. And it's not a ton of money. It's depth. It's somebody that's been there, done that, knows the system, and you're good to go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up if you want to chime in. Mark says, did you see? Yep, Mark, I get it. He says, did you see what they were saying about Jordan Love this morning? I did. And again, I think it's a moot point. There's nothing new here when it comes to Jordan Love. And yes, I know he has the same representation as Aaron Rodgers and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of a really weird, you know, but you know what? When you talk about agencies, you don't have the exact same agent. You have the agency, and the agency inside the walls will talk, but each individual agent of the agency has their job to do because they get paid on it as well. So they're going to want to do whatever is the best deal for their guy, but they also know behind closed doors what's going on. And let's be honest, at this point in time, you're talking about a guy making over $100 million versus a guy that's on a rookie contract. The guy that's making over $100 million is going to get the nod. He's going to bring them more money. He's got more stature. He's got more ability. He's got more shoppability when it comes to maybe the open market, if indeed it goes in that direction. So they're going to do everything they can for both clients, but the guy that ultimately is going to get the nod is going to be is going to be Aaron Rodgers. There's no doubt about that. Just from a business standpoint, that's what you would want, even though you don't want to have the appearance of impropriety in any way, shape, or form. But it's good to have some of that background knowledge going into it. Mark says, did you know that the only quarterback to run a faster 40 time at the combine since 2006 than Justin Fields was Robert Griffin III, who ran a 4.41? Great. Where's he at? He lasted all of a blip of a second. He set the world on fire. He got Daniel Snyder to love him and hug him and basically want to do everything in the world for him, only to watch it all completely fall apart because he allowed Robert Griffin III to kind of make the personnel calls. And all he could do was run. He wasn't a great thrower. My point exactly. Thank you very much. My point exactly. He's not that great. Just look, he may turn out to be, and you can all point the finger and say, Bill, you were wrong. I just don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's going to be serviceable. Somebody's going to draft the guy. He's going to get used. He's going to have all the opportunity in the world, and we'll see what he does with it. But when it comes to the ability to actually make big plays consistently and start to shine the way with the draft expectation, I just don't think it's going to happen. Let's go to Rox listening to us in Eau Claire. Rox, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill. Just a couple things I want to chime in on. First off, with Baylor making the Final Four last night, I got to swallow my pride and take back my words that Wisconsin was going to beat them in the second round. I had no idea how strong that backcourt was when I called into you a couple weeks ago and got, just another second-round loss. But they're a good team. I guess kind of two questions for you. One related to the draft, one related to tonight, the Elite Eight games. Does USC have any chance over Gonzaga, or are they just going to kind of run the table here? And then number two, I was listening to Chris Sims of, if you know, Pro Football Talk and all them guys say that Zach Wilson is the best quarterback in the draft. I didn't, watch a ton of the guy at BYU, but yeah, I think Lawrence is far and above the best quarterback in the draft. After those two guys, I've heard some people say that Mac Jones is going to go higher than Fields, which kind of blows my mind because, he's kind of doesn't as nearly as athletic of a guy as Fields, just by the eye test of it. But what in order, I guess to summarize my question here, what in order do you see those three and then, 4 quarterbacks with Trey Lance and others, which quarterbacks are going to go in what order to what teams in your mind?
See, that's a great question. Appreciate the phone call. Let me do this because we're late for a break. I want to come back and get into this. But first of all, let me say this. When it comes to Baylor, what I did not realize out of Baylor is the defense they play beyond the perimeter. They put up so many threes and they hit them, and they don't allow you open 3 looks. So that's how they beat you. And they did the exact same thing with the Badgers. So I completely agree with you. I did not expect that kind of pressure beyond the arc. And they are so good at it. They're so good. If you look at their defensive switches, they're so good at it and playing a man-to-man defense that gets out beyond the perimeter. And they do a really good job in cutting off second half points. So they're a strong team in many, many different aspects. But let's do this. I'll step away, take a quick break. When we come back, I'll get back into the quarterbacks and kind of the way that I think they should go versus will go. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is coming up next.
This is Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Hey, as the weather continues to turn better and better and better, and I know we're going to go through a little bit of a period in which it's going to suck over the next 48 hours, maybe even the 48 to 72-hour period. But after that, we get into the weekend, it's going to start warming up. If I was correct, and I'm going to have to check my pocket weather app here, but if I saw it correctly, and I could be wrong, but I think we're in the 60s for like a week once we get to the weekend. So as the weather warms up, get your grill back out. Get your grill on. Guarantee your supply. By the way, I take that back. I lied. So Friday, tomorrow is going to suck. Thursday is going to kind of suck. Now they're calling for lower temperatures, like right around 40, maybe 38 to 40. So Thursday is going to really suck. So we're going to be grilling out in the cold. And then it goes to mid-50s on Friday, and then 66, 66, 68, 67, 60. So maybe about a week's worth of upper 50s, lower 60s in that area. So it's not going to be terrible. But guarantee your supply of farm fresh beef for the summer by purchasing the 6 or 12-month subscription during the month of March from our friends at Scholze Family Farms Beef, ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. That is ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. They're going to send you a free pound of ground beef every month in a package. That's right. Free. Who does that? Free ground beef. They have breakfast meats, sausage, bacon, links. They have steaks and chops, and you name it, they've got it. They got all that good stuff. Just go and check out the website, Scholze, SCHOLZE, ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. They ship it from their family farm right to your door. It shows up packed in dry ice, and you can open it up right then and there. You can take it with you if you want to go to, say, a cabin up north or your lake house, whatever it happens to be. Throw it right there on your grill, serve it on your table. Oh, it's so good. So good. Watch them for events as well coming up in central Wisconsin at some of the spring events that are starting to come back, which is good to hear. And if you live or vacation around the Black River Falls area or Humbird, Wisconsin, which is technically where they're at, stop in. They encourage you. Stop over at the farm. They got the farm store wide open. Go in there and check it out for yourself. From their family farm to your family table, go to Scholze, Scholze, ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. That is Scholze, FamilyBeef.com. Now, the question was the quarterback rankings, okay? Trevor Lawrence, I think, is the most equipped guy. 6'6", 220. He's probably the most pro-ready quarterback in the mix, okay? And he's going number one. No doubt. All right. After that, it depends on what you're looking for, because I don't think there's a ton that's really there. Now, Trey Lance has gotten a lot of play. The quarterback out of North Dakota State. Many seem to think he might be the guy. There's also Zach Wilson out of BYU. Zach Wilson, he's what? He's a little bit smaller. He's like 6'3", 6'4". I think he's more like 6'2". They call him 6'3", if I'm not mistaken, but I think he's 9. But out of BYU, comes with all the intangibles. But he seems to be a guy that also is pretty ready to go. But I mentioned Trey Lance out of North Dakota State. I like him. He's a guy that Dan Shonka was telling me about as well and said, hey, pay attention to this guy. But then you've got Justin Fields, and I think Justin Fields has all the abilities. 6'3", 220, can run like the wind, but he's a running quarterback. He's not accurate. And then there's Mac Jones. Mac Jones is getting a lot of play as well, but it seems like Shanahan and the gang out there in San Francisco wants Justin Fields because they want play action. They run that ride and decide offense. He may flourish there under Shanahan. I still don't think he's a very good passer, but he doesn't have to be for the way they would use him. But if he goes someplace else, I don't think he's going to have overwhelming success. You know what I mean? So he may have success in that system, but Shanahan wants him out there. That they didn't trade up to get number 3 and put Jimmy Garoppolo in jeopardy just to say, hey, we'll take whoever we get. No, they got their eyes on somebody, no doubt about it. Stay tuned. Another hour of the Bill Michaels Show. That is coming up next.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Zone Update.
Well, the Bucks have lost 3 straight games. That's after a 129-105 loss. Clippers last night. Milwaukee actually led by double figures after the first quarter. It's all L.A. after that. Clippers hit 19 three-pointers, shot 55% from beyond the arc. Also dominated the boards and had 25 second-chance points. Coach Mike Budenholzer was asked about the struggles on the defensive end of the floor.
Their effort on the offensive boards was a big factor. Inability to guard the three-point line and inability to rebound. I think a lot of that just comes from not doing a better job of guarding just individually. So it was just not a good enough effort for us defensively. They created some of the problems for us, and we got to be significantly better.
Milwaukee dropped to 29-17 on the year. They'll face the Lakers tomorrow as their 6-game road trip continues. Another Wisconsin player has entered the transfer portal. Reserve big man Joe Hedstrom, the latest to put his name in, barely played the last 2 seasons. He joins Nate Reavers, Trevor Anderson, and Walt McGrory in the portal. And Marquette introduced new coach Shaka Smart yesterday. 43-year-old grew up just outside of Madison. He returned to the state after spending the last 6 years at Texas.
Hey, honey, how was your day? Well, I brought home a delicious dinner and possibly $10K. That's $10,000. That's a good day. It's Quick Trip's take-home meal sweepstakes. Try our chicken, bacon, mac and cheese, spicy chicken penny, spaghetti, and more. Buy with your rewards card, and you could win $10,000. No purchase necessary. See stores for details. Dinner, fresh from our kitchen to heat and eat in yours. But let's be honest, they had me at $10K. The take-home meal sweepstakes from Quick Trip. We got dinner covered.
Well, the Packers just keep re-signing their own guys. Latest is defensive lineman Tyler Lancaster. He was an unrestricted free agent after the Packers didn't tender him a contract. He joins Aaron Jones, Mercedes Lewis, and Kevin King among players to re-sign. And Wisconsin opened up spring practice today. Close to half the roster has not gone through spring ball after the pandemic forced it to be canceled last year. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
up tonight, Gonzaga, the Zags, taking on USC this evening. And by the way, the question just before I went to break before was, do I think the Zags are going to roll right into the Final Four? I picked the Zags to win it all. So I thought they were the best team from the very beginning anyway. So to answer your question, yes. Then you got Michigan and UCLA, the upstart UCLA Bruins, guided by Mick Cronin, who had to win it to get in. Remember, they beat Michigan State in a play-in game. They find themselves now in the Elite Eight and going up against the powerhouse of Juwan Howard and company and Michigan. So those are the two games on the docket coming up tonight. Baylor and Houston have already advanced. Houston fending off Oregon State, who made a furious run last night. They just weren't able to overcome. And then Baylor, Arkansas hung around, and then ultimately Baylor just walked away with the game. By the way, over on the women's side, I don't know if you saw this, but the UConn women, their 12th national championship, they're looking for a chance to win their 12th national championship, 13th consecutive women's Final Four. But they better, whatever church they reside at, they should go there and do a couple of novenas today and say thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Because last night, Carrington got fouled. I don't care what you say. The Baylor guard, she got fouled. Carrington went in. She got nailed, not by one, but by both of the Husky players, Edwards and Nelson Adota. They took her down. And how they did not get called for a foul, that was a clear case of over-respect for a program. Gino Ariyama got the call, the non-call, we'll say. No foul called. Right after that, UConn gets the ball back. Kristen Williams, she was then fouled, and they blew the whistle there. She made the free throw with it was under a second, as a matter of fact. And thus the final score. Thus the final score of 69-67. But Baylor had a shot, and they never got the call. Never got the call. So to say the very least, Baylor hot today. So their men's team in the Final Four, their women's team, no, baby, no. Didn't happen. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And then don't forget Baylor's head coach, Kim Mulkey, had said after that, don't worry about testing anybody. We should quit testing. It would be terrible if somebody couldn't go to the Final Four because of a positive COVID test. Kim Mulkey said it after the game last night, which, the rest of the world jumped on and said, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So there you have it. 877-867-1670. Phone lines are wide open today. Phone lines are wide open today. Hit us up. Love to hear from you. Phone lines wide open. This one is from Malkman. Or no, it's Maltman. Maltman. M-U-L-T, not M-U-L-K. I'm sorry. Malt. M-U-L-T. Maltman says, hey, the Brewers, I think, are going to win the division by 4 games over the Cubs. And then the Cardinals will be in third place, then the Reds, then the Pirates. No faith in the Pirates whatsoever to do any damage in the division. How are they going to get 64 wins to begin with? I think they're picked to win less than that. I went through this last week, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Pirates are picked to win like 50, 52, 55 games or something like that. So I don't know where Pittsburgh's going to get the wins. That's a great question. Jacob says, did you see that Justin Fields ran a 4.440? Yes, I did. Doesn't impress me. Fast quarterback. And in the system in San Francisco, if indeed that's the direction he goes, I think he can be, I'm not going to say above average, but I think he can be good. But look, for what he is, they're saying he's going to be, they jumped up to number 3 to get him. The 3rd overall pick in the 2021 draft, a quarterback. This guy is going to get either 0 or very little time to study behind Jimmy Garoppolo before he takes over as the starting quarterback. And that's if they keep Garoppolo. Now, they say they're not going to trade him. But the argument is that, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. That Garoppolo is going to be on the trade block, and he's going to end up somewhere else before it's all said and done. So I think I guess the live feed has stalled. I don't know. I can still see it, but I see what you're saying. I think the live feed is stalled. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I think that that Justin Fields could flourish in the play action system that Shanahan wants to run. It's not about whether or not he can run. It's about whether and you can use him for a year or two or whatever it happens to be. But I think in what I'm thinking is that he just doesn't have the ability to throw the ball into that tight window. We'll wait and see. We'll have a difference of opinion, but we'll wait and see. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Your thoughts. This one's from Arthur, who says, Trevor Lawrence seems to be the best out there. Do you think he is going to excel as the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars? Look, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to get every opportunity. I think that I don't know if it's the best situation for him to go and be under Urban Meyer. That just my opinion. Let's go to the phone calls. Talk to Mark. Mark, welcome to the program, man. What's going on?
Not too much. How you doing?
Doing great. What are you thinking?
So, I hear everything you have to say about Justin Fields. I just don't know if I agree with it. So you don't like him because you think he's a running quarterback, and because he went to Ohio State, that's not going to translate to the NFL?
No, well, right? I think he comes out of an offense which is more ride and decide than it is actually standing in the pocket and being a quarterback. And I also think that he has a looping motion. It takes him a little bit too long to deliver the football, and he doesn't have the best of decision-making process. So I think you put those three together, and it makes him an average quarterback with really good wheels in the National Football League.
I don't understand how you don't think he has good decision-making process. He threw 41 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 2019. And I also hear you talk about Trey Lance. Trey Lance had 3 times more rushing yards than Trevor Lawrence did and more touchdowns. So I don't know why you're docking Justin Fields and not docking Trey Lance.
I'm only going because I saw Justin Fields play more. And he has a motion to me very reminiscent of what Tim Tebow had. It is a long looping motion. It takes him a little while to deliver the football. And when you're talking about guys that are wide open, he was able to hit them. There's no doubt about that. But in the National Football League, you don't have that same window. We've seen a lot of great quarterbacks that can make good decisions and have great touchdown to interception ratios that have never been good quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's usually the reason as to why, because the window closes so quick.
So you think that Trey Lance is a better prospect because he doesn't run, or why do you?
No, I don't know about a better prospect. I think they're all within reason. I just think that the guy that's probably going to be the most ready and actually is going to be more of a pocket passing quarterback with a good delivery is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Now, the rest of them, they could either be hit or miss. I don't know. I'm only going by what I'm reading when it comes to Trey Lance. I mean, I've heard so many people talk about him in such a glowing light, and the feelings are mixed on Justin Fields because of some of the reasons that I gave. And I'm just going by what I saw. And I paid a lot of attention to Ohio State football. So what I saw was a really good collegiate football quarterback. And they had an unbelievable offense with good weapons. But I just don't like necessarily what I see of him as a quarterback.
That's definitely fair. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I don't think there's any debate that he's the best quarterback. There's no debate in that. But I think he reminds me a lot of Josh Allen, just not with the arm strength. And I think that his throwing motion can be fixed if he's working with Kyle Shanahan, who's obviously a great offensive coordinator. I think that he'd be my second quarterback I'd take off the board behind Trevor Lawrence, but that's just me. So,
well, let's see what happens, and then we'll revisit this in about 6 months, 8 months, and then see what happens. All right.
I'll give you a call in 8 months.
You do it. Well, call me
thank
before then over something else, but we'll kind of compare notes going back about 8 months. Appreciate the phone call. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I don't know what happened to the camera over on the stream, so we will, because everything here is showing up. So we will reload the stream during the commercial break coming up here in a couple of minutes. But I wanted to let you know, I do hear you, those of you chiming in over on the live stream feed. So without a doubt. Hey, our friends, by the way, at Four Seasons Island Resort, that's in Pembine, Wisconsin. They want to remind you this weekend, Easter weekend, they got some special lodging going on. So all you can eat buffet coming up on Sunday. Call them 715-324-5800, 715-324-5800. Make your reservations right now. Get a hold of our girl Barb up there, and she can tell you all about the amenities and such. BARB, Barb, at thefourseasonswi.com. If you're in your office, if you're cruising around right now and you didn't get a chance to write down the phone number, I'll give it to you again in a minute. But you can also email Barb, B-A-R-B, at thefourseasonswi.com. They've got a great Easter weekend coming up, and they have some fun in the Boundary Waters Bar coming up on Saturday night, Friday and Saturday night. Big, huge pool up there if you want to take the kids. You want to get away for the Easter brunch. It's going to be warmer weather this weekend. It'll be nice. Be nice. However, with the cooler weather, they're still making some snow up there at Pine Mountain Ski Resort. That's in the UP in Iron Mountain, Michigan, which is only about 20 miles north of where the Four Seasons is. So if you'd rather go skiing and take the family on a ski trip, this is the way to go. So you go up to Pine Mountain, and you can still have the ski weekend and the all-you-can-eat buffet on Easter Sunday. So call them 906-774-2747. 906-774-2747. Again, 906-774-2747. In either place, make sure you ask. Tell them you heard it here so you get the special rate on the Easter buffet. But make sure you tell them you heard it on the Bill Michaels Show. That's the way you get it. So again, 774-2747. That's 906-774-2747 in the UP. But if you just want to go to the Four Seasons Island Resort in Pembine, Wisconsin, 715-324-5800. There you have it. Good stuff. I can't wait for summer to get back up both of those places to go play some golf. They got terrific golf courses up there. The 9-hole executive on the Four Seasons Island Resort, and then Timberstone Championship Golf Course, which is beautiful, cut in the side of the mountain up there at Pine Mountain Resort. Two terrific places. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for a boating season either. I got to go get my boat back from my buddy Dwayne up there in Wausau. That's coming. I'm going to get back up there soon to do it. But boating season. Speaking of that, if you're looking for a boat, my friends at Skipper Buds, specifically the one in Pewaukee, I deal with Todd out there. Todd's the GM. Go in and ask for Todd. Tell him I sent you. They have a huge selection of used boats, fishing boats, some water ski boats, pleasure boats, all that kind of stuff. New boats and cruisers. I mean, they always have that. But they have got a huge selection of used boats right now. I mean, huge. I was driving past there yesterday. Enormous selection, and they're knocking prices down because they got to make room for the new ones. So if you are looking for a new boat or a used boat and you want to take some of that appreciation out or depreciation off of there, call them right now. Get a hold of my buddy Todd over there at Skipper Buds because, man, they got some great deals over there. Great deals. We're going to step away, take a quick break. We'll come back. We're going to reset the live stream, by the way, for those of you following us over on the Facebook fan page. You can follow us there, but we're going to reset the live stream. So stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
This is